Yes, you can't get away from me even when I'm not here. Sorry about that. And I know some of you have a hard time taking me seriously. Like, well, I guess I could take off my hat. No, my hair's messed up. I'm gonna leave it on. All right. You have some guided notes. Ms. Bell will give you those. So you need to fill those in while you're watching this video. If it gets a little too long, I might have to split it up into 2 videos, but we'll see when we get there. All right, so get the guided notes out and let's fill those in while you're watching. Let me switch my camera over. Okay, so these are the guided notes, and what it's about is simplifying square roots. Now you're going to have to learn how to do square roots, and the next I'm going to learn after this is actually you've had it before, but I'm going to make sure. I had a lot of students in trig this year, and I've had students in algebra 2 that didn't remember how to do it. But how to use the Pythagorean theorem on a right triangle. But that's what you're going to be able to do. Like if you know 2 sides, if you know this is 20 and this is 12, what is the missing side? Well, that's what you're going to do after we do this section. Now, the first thing you're going to do here is list the first 15 perfect squares. For example, 1 squared means 1 times 1, that's 1. 2 squared means 2 times 2, that's 4. 3 squared is 9. Now, I want you to stop the video for a second. Stop the video, fill in the rest, and then come back and check. You may want to do these in pencil in case you make a mistake. All right? So pause for a second and then come back and check to see if you got them all right. Okay, hopefully you're back and you got all these right. If you can't read that one, that's 169. That's 13 squared. All right, so these are all your perfect squares, and they do go further than that. If you used to be when you took the SATs, they told you to memorize up to 25 squared, but this is far enough for us. Now, how can you use the table above to find square roots? Well, you just go in reverse. You're just going to use the table in reverse. So, for example, that says the square root of 81. How do you take the square root of 81? Well, you go up here, you find 81. What number squared gives you 81? The answer would be 9. So the answer is 9 because 9 squared is 81. But 9 is your answer there. Number 2, what squared gives you 225? Well, that would be 15. Now here you have a number in front. What do you do with the number in front? Well, that number, you're not taking the square root of that number, so that just stays 7. But in between the 7 and the square root sign is a times. So what's the square root of 64? That would be 8. So 7 times 8 is 56. Now, what about a fraction? Well, with a fraction, you take the square root of the top and the square root of the bottom separately. You do each one separate. 16, that would be 4. And 25, that would be 5. So the answer is just 4/5. Now, the next part of the guided notes is how do you take the square root of a number that's not a perfect square? All right, we got a few steps we got to run through. First, you're going to use your multiplication tables, unless you know them. Find the largest perfect square that divides into the given number. Separate the number using the numbers you found in the above step. Take the square root of the perfect square. Leave the leftover inside the square root sign, which is called a radical. That symbol right there is called a radical sign. Look, that was a kind of a messy radical. That is a radical sign. That's called a square root symbol. Radical, same thing. All right, so let's do 2 of these, and I'll pause the video and then do the rest of them on the next video so that my videos don't get too long. Let's see if I get this a little closer. All right, the square root of 18. 18 is not a perfect square. All right, but can you find a perfect square that goes into 18? Well, you need to take your multiplication table and try to find 18 in it. Here's 18. That would be 6 and 3, but 6 and 3 doesn't work because one of them needs to be a perfect square. Is there somewhere else I see 18? 18 is right here. So what two numbers is that? That would be 2 and 9. Yes.
Sorry for interrupting you.
That's okay. You going back with it?
They cracking down, so I had to escort. Wait, are you pre-recording your lesson plan in advance?
Yeah, for tomorrow. I'm gonna be out tomorrow.
Tomorrow morning?
Okay. Oh, Marley don't like that. She said, wait. It's okay. I know he's one of your favorites. It's okay.
We had a class with AFDA and
Revis.
That's right.
yeah.
Where you going then?
Mm-hmm.
Take it right.
She said you gonna leave her in the classroom like that. That's a good one.
Okay, so I'm back. So, okay, 9 and 2 would be what you want to use because 9 is a perfect square, 2 is not. So let's go back to 18. What you're going to do is you're going to rewrite this as the square root of 9 times the square root of 2. See how that 9 times 2 is 18? And 9 is a perfect square because it's one of these numbers. Now, always put the perfect square first. Put the perfect square first. Now, do you know the square root of 9? The square root of 9 is 3. So you're going to write 3 for that one. But the number that's not a perfect square, that's called the leftover, that stays underneath the square root sign. So that would be 3 square root of 2. Now let's do 24. 24, we want to try to find two numbers that multiply 24 so that one of them is a perfect square. Now, some of you may not need to use the multiplication tables. You can just look up here, which of these numbers, let's see, don't go past 24. Let's see, go up to here. Which of those numbers, which is the largest number there that divides into 24? It would be 4. And you can look at your multiplication table and find 24. It would be 4 times 6. So let's write 24 as now. Which number should I write first? These two numbers have to multiply to 24. Which one should I write first? Should I write the 4 first or should I write the 6 first? Well, you always write the perfect square first. So you're going to write the 4 first, then the 6. You can take the square root of 4. That's 2. The 6 is not a perfect square. That's the leftover that stays underneath. All right, let's take a pause and come back and do the rest in the next video.